The storm surge has receded. The once raging waters that swallowed entire neighborhoods have now pulled back, revealing the aftermath of their destructive journey. The floodwaters have finally retreated. Streets that were once rivers are now drying, and the water levels are lowering, leaving behind a trail of debris and mud. But the scars of Hurricane Helene run deep. The landscape is a testament to the hurricane's wrath, with buildings reduced to rubble and entire areas left unrecognizable. Just a few weeks ago, Helene made landfall, unleashing its fury on this community. The winds howled, the rain poured, and the people braced for impact, not knowing what would be left in the storm's wake. The images we've all seen, the splintered homes, the flooded streets, the families left with nothing, they're a stark reminder of nature's raw power. These visuals are not just scenes from a disaster movie, they are the harsh reality for many. But amidst the devastation, there's also a story of resilience, of neighbors helping neighbors, of a community picking up the pieces and starting to rebuild. Volunteers from near and far have come together, offering their time, resources, and support to help those in need. In the face of such adversity, the human spirit shines brightest. Children find moments of joy amidst the debris, families share meals in makeshift shelters, and community meetings are held to plan the long road to recovery. Local businesses are beginning to reopen, construction workers are tirelessly repairing homes, and town halls are filled with discussions on how to rebuild stronger and better. The road ahead is long, but the determination of this community is unwavering. As the sun sets, it symbolizes not just the end of a day, but the promise of new beginnings. The scars of Helene will remain, but so will the stories of courage, unity, and hope. The first images that emerged from the disaster zone were almost impossible to comprehend. The sheer scale of the devastation was beyond anything anyone had ever seen. Entire neighborhoods were reduced to rubble, and the landscape was unrecognizable. The air was thick with dust and the smell of destruction, a haunting reminder of the power of nature. Roads that were once lifelines, now twisted and broken, swallowed by the earth or buried under mountains of debris. These roads had connected communities, facilitated trade, and provided access to essential services. Now, they were nothing more than jagged scars on the landscape, a testament to the force of the disaster. The destruction of these roads meant that help could not easily reach those in need, and the isolation was palpable. Bridges, critical arteries for transportation, crumbled under the onslaught, isolating communities and making rescue efforts a logistical nightmare. These structures, once symbols of human ingenuity and resilience, now lay in ruins. The collapse of these bridges not only hindered the movement of emergency services, but also cut off vital supply lines. The challenge of rebuilding these connections was immense, and the impact on the affected communities was profound. And then there was the invisible threat power lines, ripped from their moorings, dangling precariously, plunging homes and businesses into darkness. The loss of electricity meant that communication was severely hampered, and the already dire situation was made even more difficult. Without power, hospitals struggled to operate, and the lack of lighting made the nights even more terrifying for those trapped in the disaster zone. It was a scene of utter chaos, a stark illustration of the challenges first responders faced in those crucial early hours. The debris-strewn landscape was a maze of obstacles, and every step was fraught with danger. Despite the overwhelming odds, these brave men and women worked tirelessly, risking their own lives to save others. Their efforts were a beacon of hope in the midst of the devastation, a reminder of the resilience and strength of the human spirit. For many families, the storm surge wasn't just a wall of water, it was an eviction notice. Homes, some passed down through generations, reduced to rubble. The lucky ones escaped with their lives, but the question quickly became, where do you go when there's no place left to go? Shelters overflowed, filled with families huddled together, grappling with shock and uncertainty. The immediate need for shelter was clear, but the long road to finding permanent housing, to rebuilding shattered lives, that was just beginning. In the wake of a disaster of this magnitude, aid is everything. Food, water, medicine, these become lifelines. But for many communities in Helene's path, particularly those in rural and isolated areas, help was agonizingly slow to arrive. Roads were impassable, communication lines down, making it a Herculean task to get supplies to those who needed them most. Every hour that passed brought increased desperation, underscoring the need for better preparedness and more efficient response systems. As the floodwaters recede, a new danger emerges. Standing water, a breeding ground for disease, becomes a toxic soup. Contaminated water supplies spread illness, while the lack of proper sanitation facilities exacerbates the risk. But the health crisis extends beyond the physical. The mental and emotional toll of the storm, the trauma of loss, the uncertainty of the future. These invisible wounds can be just as debilitating. The storm may be gone, but for many businesses in this community, the damage is just beginning to be tallied. Restaurants and shops, once the lifeblood of this town, now stand empty, their doors shuttered, victims not just of the wind and water, but of the economic storm that follows. Jobs lost, livelihoods upended, the road to recovery for these businesses, for the families who relied on them, will be long and arduous. In the chaotic aftermath of a disaster, everyone wants to help, but good intentions can sometimes lead to more chaos. A multitude of relief organizations, government agencies, and volunteers, all converging on the disaster zone, often with overlapping efforts and a lack of communication. Streamlining relief efforts, ensuring aid is distributed efficiently and effectively, that's a challenge that requires coordination and collaboration. As the community begins the long process of rebuilding, there's an opportunity, a necessity, to build back stronger, to create communities more resilient to the next storm. This isn't just about replacing what was lost, but about rethinking and redesigning our spaces to better withstand future challenges. That means tougher building codes, ones that take into account the increasing severity of weather events. Architects and engineers are now focusing on innovative designs that can endure the harshest conditions. Homes are being constructed with materials that can withstand higher winds and rising waters. Elevated homes and reinforced structures are becoming the new norm, especially in coastal areas prone to flooding. It means investing in infrastructure, in early warning systems that can provide crucial time to prepare and evacuate. Flood barriers and upgraded infrastructure are essential to protect communities from the inevitable. In addition to physical structures, we need to invest in the resources that can help mitigate the impact of future disasters. This includes stockpiling emergency supplies, training community members in disaster preparedness, and ensuring that emergency response teams are well-equipped and ready to act. But it also requires funding, commitment, and collaboration at all levels. Government officials, community leaders, and financial planners must work together to allocate the necessary resources and create comprehensive disaster recovery budgets, and a recognition that the cost of prevention pales in comparison to the price of inaction. Investing in resilient infrastructure and preparedness measures now can save countless lives and billions of dollars in the future. The images of disaster damage versus fortified structures tell a compelling story. Proactive measures are not just an option, but a necessity for a safer, more secure future. The environmental impact of a hurricane extends far beyond the immediate devastation. Coastlines redrawn, beaches eroded, ecosystems disrupted. The storm surge, a destructive force, carrying pollutants inland, contaminating water supplies and threatening wildlife. The task of cleaning up, of restoring the natural balance, of mitigating the long-term environmental consequences, that's a challenge that will require time, resources, and a commitment to sustainability. Long after the cameras are gone, long after the floodwaters recede, the invisible scars of the storm remain. The trauma of that night, the loss of loved ones, of homes, of a sense of security, these are wounds that time alone cannot heal. Addressing the mental health needs of survivors, providing counseling, support groups, resources to cope with the invisible scars, that's an essential part of the long-term recovery process. For many families, the storm brought not just physical devastation, but financial ruin. Insurance claims delayed, denied, or insufficient to cover the true cost of rebuilding. Government assistance, while crucial, often falls short of what's needed to get families back on their feet. The road to recovery from Hurricane Helene will be long and arduous. It will require resources, resilience, and an unwavering commitment from all of us. But even in the face of such devastation, even amidst the ruins, there is hope. The hope that comes from neighbors helping neighbors, from communities coming together, from the knowledge that even in the darkest of times, the human spirit can endure. Viewers who wish to support recovery efforts for Hurricane Helene can make donations to several reputable organizations that are actively involved in disaster relief. Here are some trusted options where donations can make a significant impact. American Red Cross. The Red Cross provides emergency shelter, food, medical care, and other critical support for disaster survivors. Donations help fund both immediate and long-term recovery efforts. Donate. redcross.org. Global Giving. Global Giving connects donors with grassroots projects in disaster-hit areas, ensuring funds reach local communities quickly. They focus on long-term rebuilding and community-led recovery. Donate. globalgiving.org. FEMA, Federal Emergency Management Agency. Partner organizations. FEMA partners with a network of organizations like the Salvation Army, Feeding America, and more that offer direct relief in disaster-affected areas. FEMA offers resources on how to donate or volunteer through trusted partners. FEMA.gov, the Salvation Army. The Salvation Army provides emergency disaster services, including shelter, food, and clothing, and they work on long-term recovery in impacted areas. Donate. salvationarmyusa.org. Direct Relief. Direct Relief focuses on providing medical aid and health services to communities affected by natural disasters. Donations help supply emergency medicine and medical supplies. Donate. directrelief.org. Team Rubicon. Team Rubicon mobilizes military veterans to assist in disaster recovery efforts. They provide volunteer services like debris removal, rebuilding homes, and community support. Donate. teamrubiconusa.org. GoFundMe. Many local individuals, families, and small businesses affected by Hurricane Helene may set up verified GoFundMe campaigns for direct financial support. GoFundMe has a dedicated section for disaster relief where donors can find legitimate campaigns. Donate. GoFundMe.com. We encourage you to donate to any of these reputable organizations. We'll help ensure that their contributions make a meaningful difference in helping those affected by Hurricane Helene recover and rebuild. Thank you for watching.